Hi there, this is Anna Aspinus from Anna Aspinus Designs, and in this video tutorial I want to show you how to use ArtsyPaint toolsets or brushes to create an artsy edge or mat for your photo-inspired weekly documentation pages. I'm working in Adobe Photoshop Element 11, but please feel free to follow along in the version of your choice, be that the full version of Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. So you can see on my screen I have my year 2014 week 34 photo-inspired layout using photo-inspired double template number 78. And I like to move the two sides of the template. They're delivered in 12 by 12 PSD format, and I like to move all the layers of both templates onto one 24 by 12 inch canvas. And then from there I begin adding my papers, clipping my photos and artsy cards to the various masks in the template, and then adding all of the pertinent details. And if you're interested in seeing my process further, you can go to the oscraps.com store, head to Anna Aspinus Designs, and you'll be able to locate a free video outlining my 5-step process in the free art category of the AA store. In the layers panel on the right hand side of my screen, I can view all of the layers currently in my layout, right up from the background. I've added some solid background papers from Art Play Palette, Breathe, and then we get into the ArtsyPaint layers that add this watercolor kind of painted effect that creates a mat for all of my clipped images and photos. So if I go to my layers panel on the right hand side of my screen, I can access all of the layers that make up my photo inspired page, and I can switch off the visibility of any of those layers by clicking on the eye icon located next to any of the layers. So you can see as I click on those eyes, there's a red line strike that comes through the eye icon, and then the visibility of whatever's on that layer disappears from my layout. And I'm going to go ahead and switch all of those off. To recreate the artsy edge and show you how I created it in the first place, I'm going to go to the top of my layers panel, click on the create new layer icon, which creates a blank new layer, and then I'm going to go over to my tools panel on the left hand side of my screen, ensure that I have the brush tool selected, which then activates the options at the bottom of my screen. Click on the downward facing arrow next to the brush option to activate your brush panel, and you can see that I've already loaded ArtsyPaint number 6. This is the latest ArtsyPaint that I've just released into the Anna Aspinus Design store. You can find other sets in the series either in the Project 365 or Life category. They can also be located in tool sets. Typically for creating these artsy edges, I like to use predominantly the ArtsyPaint, but I'll also use brushes that are included with the Art Play palettes, and also Different Strokes, which is another series of brush sets located in the tool sets category of the Anna Aspinus Design store. For further guidance on using and loading brushes, you can head to the Anna Aspinus YouTube channel, which can be accessed either from the front page of my store or from the Anna Aspinus Designs blog, and take a look at the brushes number 1 video, which kind of covers that in detail. Will show you how to use brushes. It goes through all these various different options at the bottom of the screen here, and then shows you how to load the brushes. So I want to select one of these brushes, so I'm going to go back to that menu and just pick out one of the brushes, and then I want to go over to the tools panel and click on the foreground color, and then sample from within this layout one of the colors that's either exist or predominant. So maybe we'll go with the green for demonstration purposes, and you can see that that automatically selects that same color green within the color picker, and then click OK, and then we already have our new layer selected. So I just go over to the edge of the page and I click to create a brush stroke. And typically I like to repeat that same brush stroke one or more times. So if you go down to your brush settings and click on there, you get this option to rotate the brush. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it by 90 degrees. And then maybe this time, it doesn't have to be completely perfect, and maybe this time we'll increase the size of the brush slightly, and then on a diagonal or opposing corner I'll repeat that same brush set, and you can see that the green doesn't provide too much contrast. So if I go to Edit, Undo Brush, and then maybe try another place where that brush could look good, and then we'll go down and maybe use that brush one more time and click up the top here to similar, so maybe down here by the edge to create some green behind that one image. And then from here I'm going to go back down and select a new brush. So this time we might go with this brush. There's no really scientific way to select brushes other than just kind of trying them out and figuring out if they work or not in a particular page. You always have the Control Z or the Edit Undo option to undo any brush strokes that are not working for you. So for this new ArtsyPaint brush stroke, we want to create a new layer by going to the new layer, clicking on the new layer icon in the layers panel to create that new layer. You can see that it appears down at the bottom here, and then we'll head over to our foreground color, click on the color thumbnail to activate our color picker, and this time I want to access one of the browns that are in my layout. I like to do a mix of neutrals and colors that exist in my pages to support my photos. So I'm going to click on this Artsy cards, and that samples a kind of a greenish brown. Maybe try this as a little browner. And once I am happy with the color that appears up here, I can click OK, and then it's just a question of stamping more brush strokes onto that layer. And of course we can increase the size if we want to, and go ahead back down to brush settings and adjust the angle of the brush stroke also if needed. And then from here it's just pretty much a question of continuing this process of selecting a new brush, creating a new layer, selecting a new color. For the next one I might go with this brush, select a white as my foreground color. This time I use the toggle button instead of sampling, create that new layer, make sure we have a new layer, and then just stamping again. And you can see quickly how those layers of paint build up and form a really neat artsy mat for all the images in your layout. And then you can go ahead and maybe load some different strokes, add some brush splatters. There's some really neat watercolor punctuation in the store also that I like to add in there. Any kind of stain or paint is preferable for my tastes. If you have any questions about this technique, please shoot me an email at anna_aspinus@yahoo.com, and I will do my best to help you. In the meantime, if you are interested in pursuing this further, you can also check out last week's post, which showed you how to create an artsy edge using transfers, and then also look at the guidance that I provide for artsy edge templates, which are also located in the Anna Aspinus Design Store. And it's essentially all of these artsy strokes placed in a layered template file, so it's just a matter of dragging them over to your page and recoloring them. Essentially, I've done the work for you. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will be back here again soon.